Journeying through October with Edwene Gaines and her book, The Four Spiritual Laws of Prosperity. I think we still have some available in the gift shop if you want to get one for yourself. And prosperity. This is just a little review. What is prosperity? We have four things, very simple, right? A vitally alive physical body to provide a comfortable worldly home for the spiritual beings that we are. Okay? 2, relationships that are satisfying, nurturing, honest, and work all the time. 3, work that we love so much that it isn't work, it's play. And 4, all the money we can spend. A few of us spent a little bit of money yesterday when we did our boutique bash, didn't we? That was fun. In any event, so that's kind of a review of what prosperity is in Edwene Gaines' definition, and I think it's pretty encompassing. Prosperity is health and relationships and creative endeavors and money and financial. So it's all of those elements. So we are in the 3rd week of October, and we have covered 2 of the spiritual laws, of the 4 spiritual laws. We've covered 2 of them. Those being, the first one being tithing and giving. Tithing, giving out 10% of what you have received in to where you are fed spiritually. And forgiveness and worthiness. Recognizing that forgiveness and letting go of whatever angst you doesn't help you or anyone else. And so we want to forgive, forgive, forgive always, 70 times 7. Never a done deal. You're always, always forgiving. Today's topic is ask, accept, and go for it, also known as setting clear-cut goals. Okay? Before I get into the meat of setting the clear-cut goals and what Edwene gives us in this information in the book, I wanted to review some of our basic truths to give us, again, a foundation of what this is all premised upon, okay? And so first and foremost, we know that there is this stuff, as Ernest Holmes called it. This stuff, which we say is energy, is power, and it's in a spirit realm. It is in the unseen realm, and it is the cause of everything. It is the creative source of all. And it is through everything. It is all there is. That's it, right? And this unseen stuff, this unseen energy, shows up in a physical form in everything. And everything we see and everything we touch is this stuff in expression, in experience. Many of us call this stuff, this energy, this power, God. And if that resonates for you, that's great. And if it doesn't, make up something else. That's what it's about. Allow yourself to call it something else if that gives you some issue. Now, so we have this creative energy and we have this beautiful physical being, things all around us. Those things get produced, gets into the physical form by going through what we call law. We're going through a principle that is also unseen, that is. And this principle, this law, is, I think it's easier to kind of imagine it as a mold. Like how many times do we pour something into a mold and then we let it sit and do its thing, harden however it happens, whatever it is, and voila, there it is. There's the result. That's basically what we're talking about here. This creative energy, this stuff, gets poured into the mold, into the law, and it comes out, boop, pop, as our physical thing. But this mold, this law, is generated, is created by our thought. Thoughts are what create our law of our life. Because what we think, we say. And what we say, we do. And what our actions are will then give us the experiences of our lives, right? It's just like dominoes. This goes on like that. And so the first and foremost thing to realize is, what am I thinking? How many of you have ever had an experience in your life where something happened and you say, oh my gosh, what was I thinking? Sound familiar to anyone? Those are the times when life gives us the response, the physical form pops out of the mold, and we didn't know what mold we were using. Because you see, the mold doesn't question. It doesn't tell you to stop and think again. Are you sure that's the thought you want to think? Are you sure that's the feeling you want to have based on that thought? No. And so we get to experience the law of our lives based on our thoughts, based on our emotions that are associated with those thoughts, and boop, there comes our life. So spiritual law number 3, what Edwin is talking about then, is the fact that we get to call the shots. In the Bible, it says that God gave man dominion. You know what the synonyms are of dominion? They are power, control, authority, and command. So man has dominion. That's a power that we have. And remember when God brought all the animals to Adam, and he said, now what are you going to do? We name them. So God gave man the job, the duty, the authority, the dominion to name all the animals. And that's what we're doing. We're naming all the animals in our lives. All of our stuff, we name it. And then we live with it. That's that's how our lives work. And so Edwin is telling us to think about what you want, because you have dominion. It's up to us to order from the cosmic kitchen. We wouldn't order just willy-nilly. We want to order specifically what it is we want. And Edwin, how many of you have purchased this book and are reading it for the first time? Well, no, yeah, for second or third time. She tells a story in here about a friend of hers, a lady, that was giving out her business cards, and she put her name on the business card, and then after her name, she had the letters MSU. And Edwin looked at it, and she thought, whoa, this is impressive, I mean, anybody who has letters after their name, what does that mean? They're a mucky-muck of some sort. They've got some distinction, some designation, right? And so Edwin looked at it. She was very impressed. Well, I didn't know you were an MSU. What is that? And the gal looked at her and said, oh, that means I make stuff up. Now that is a very wise woman, because we are all MSUs. We all make our stuff up. So you can all print business cards, and you have my authority, my dominion, to say MSU after it, because you're going to make that stuff up. Remember that in order to do this process, one of the first things you want to do is go within. Quiet the mind, quiet the ego mind that tells you all the shoulds and the shouldn'ts and I can't have that and whatever. Quiet that down and listen to the desire of your heart, of the Father. What does your heart want for you in your life? Trust that if it comes up for you, then there is a way to have it. There is a way to accept it and to experience it in your life. Edwin tells us When you start tithing, remember that was number one. You got to start tithing first of all. To where you're fed spiritually. That can mean wherever you receive your spiritual nourishment. It can be a person, it can be a place, it can be an organization. But and I love the way that she described, well, what is spiritual food? Spiritual food is whatever someone or something reminds you of who you are. When they remind you, when you have that little niche that goes through your heart and you feel that link to them, you're being fed spiritually, and that's where you tithe. So she says, when you start tithing, the windows open and a shower of good starts flowing into your life. Now, you need something to catch the good with, or it will be lost to you. Remember, you got to create your mold. Setting concrete and practical goals creates a vessel with which you can catch it. You need to take some time alone and relearn how to daydream. Give yourself permission to dream big, or you will miss exactly what you are here for, to experience your own divine nature. We are infinite beings. And if you want something, you're going to have to get moving. You can't just sit there like a bump on a pickle. That's Edwine's words. She's from the South. I would have said bump on a log, but she says bump on a pickle, whatever. So you have to know what you want, what the desires of your heart are, and then you've got to do something about it. Really. You got to move. You got to, like we say, treat and move your feet. You've got to move in the direction. One of the biggest things that you got to do first, again, is put aside that ego voice that is telling you you're not enough. You're not worthy. You can't do it. Who are you to think that? Blah, blah, blah. Okay? That's the first thing you've got to stop listening to. And what this is reminding me of is where I was last Saturday with 3,500 other people celebrating Louise Hayes' 90th birthday. 90th birthday for Louise Hayes. How many people in this room do not know who Louise Hayes is? Okay, we got a few that we do not know who Louise Hayes. She is an author. She is a religious science minister. She owns and started and perpetuates Hay House, which is a beautiful publishing company who publishes Wayne Dyer and lots of wonderful writers. She puts on events all around the world, I Can events. And she first came into, her energy became evident in our society during the AIDS crisis, back in the 80s, when all these young men were dying. And she is a religious science practitioner. A religious science practitioner is able to work with individuals and tell them their truth, let them discover their truth. And so she supported these young men that were going through this AIDS crisis. And she had in LA, she had these things called a hayride. And she'd put them on this big float, this big truck with a hay on it. And she encouraged them to live their lives as we teach, knowing their truth. And that's how she really started. And she wrote a book called You Can Heal Your Life. And it's basically the metaphysical interpretation, the metaphysical reasons why physical things show up in our lives. What's the mental cause of it? And it became a bestseller. Yes, there are 2 books. You Can Heal Your Life. She started with, and I'm not sure how this happened, because at the party, it was a big party we had. They said that she was on Oprah and what was the other one? Phil Donahue's show in the same week. And after her appearance on those 2 shows, she skyrocketed to #1 bestseller, New York bestseller. And that's how she really began. And then she started her own publishing company, and it's just gone on from there. Okay, so that's Louise Hay. So I wanted to share with you some of the speakers and some of the information that they gave us last Saturday. The first one that spoke was Cheryl Richardson. And she has written a book called You Can Create an Exceptional Life, which she wrote with Louise. And she was telling us, many of them did, some of Louise's favorite affirmations, because, you know, in our teaching, affirmations is a basic tool. You know, you say what you want, you know, in the affirmative, and it's happening now. And so some of her favorite ones, and she said, I have this one laminated, and it's in my shower. And it says, I am showered by good thoughts all day long. Isn't that cool? Just laminate it, stick it in your shower, see it as you're bathing. I am showered by good thoughts all day long. My mind brings me everything I need whenever I need it. No such thing as senior moments. My mind brings me everything I need whenever I need it. And then she said to remember, please remember, don't forget. You know, when somebody comes out, now don't forget, cancel. Please remember. That's the affirmative. That's the affirmation you want to say. So what she does is she gives out Louise Hayes' calendars, which, by chance, I just happened to have purchased one that day at a discount price since it was, you know, at the event. But it's called I Can Do It, Louise Hayes' 2017 calendar. I'm thinking that maybe we can order some of these and have these on sale at our gift shop for your holiday giving. Because what she does is she gives these out as gifts to all of her friends, and then at the end of the year, because they're just a tear off, you know. So at the end of the year, she takes all of the pages, maybe she does it throughout the year perhaps, and she goes into like the stores and she stuffs them in a pocket of a piece of apparel. Or she'll leave them tucked away in all these different spots so that someday somebody is going to discover it. And there are all these beautiful little affirmations. So what a fun thing to do. I thought that was a great way to recycle, you know, the calendars and such. So that's what she spoke about. Dr. Christine Northrup spoke. How many of you are familiar with her? I see some heads shaking. She is a board-certified OBGYN, and she told, never tell your age, because you don't want your body to know. She said number 33 is a very symbolic number. It's the age that Jesus was when he left this earth plane. And she said everybody in heaven is 33. So why don't you just say you're 33? And then feel like you are. Imagine, what's it like to be 33? Well, that's that. That's what you can do. She also shared the information that Louise, at 90, has a new boyfriend. And so she said, maybe you could tell yourself, no matter, at your 33, that age you are, you could tell yourself, the best sex of my life has not yet happened. How about affirmation, huh? She quoted Dr. Martin Martinez. I don't know who Martin Martinez. He said there are 3 ways that every tribe wounds their people: by shame, by blame, and by betrayal. Living in society, that's what all of us are bombarded with. That's what we have coming at us. And so that's why Louise Hay began and developed what we call the mirror work. You look in a mirror and you say, I love you. You look into your eyes and you say, I love you. And it was so cute. At one point, they had a video of her talking to somebody, and this was a fairly recent video. And somebody put a mirror in front of her. Oh, my gosh. She goes, oh, look at you. You're just so cute. I just love you. Look at you. Oh. But that's what we are to do. We are to love ourselves and not belittle ourselves. Not shame and not blame and not any of that kind of stuff. Because we are these beautiful, light, bright beings. Accept it. So I love you. I really, really love you. Say your name. So we're going to say, I would say, I love you, Gay. I really, really love you. Now, if you have to do it in front of a mirror, now that's going to be challenging for some people. I'm thinking about next month speaking on her, and we're all going to bring in mirrors. Anyway. So I want you to pretend that you're looking at a mirror right now, and I want you to say, I love you, and then say your name. I really, really love you. Okay, say it. I love you, Gay. I really, really love you. Doesn't that feel good? Now, that's your homework. You have to do that every day. It was interesting. She talked about sitting across from Louise at a dinner party. Oh, no. This is Chris Carr said this. This is a younger woman. She's actually been, I hadn't really heard of her too much, but she's been around. She's been at these are all authors for the Hay House. And she is into nutrition. She's been literally dealing with a cancer for 10 years. I don't know exactly what kind, but she's been dealing with this cancer. She says, our purpose is to be with what is, to befriend ourselves. So she is dealing with this cancer for 10 years and being our purpose is to accept what is, to be with what is. So she said, though, that she was sitting at a dinner party right across from Louise. And, of course, the waiters come and they ask you, what do you want to drink? And a lot of times they ask you what your wine selection is initially. And so Louise says, well, I'm really not sure what I'm going to be eating yet. I haven't determined that. I think I'll have a glass of each, one red and one white. And Miss Chris looked at her and she goes, oh, you can do that? you can order both? Because you don't know? Just have one of each. Now that is an abundance, prosperity consciousness. She also said, though, that by the end of the evening, she had made rosé. So we had Robert Holden speak, and he wrote the book Life Loves You, again with Louise. And he said, my relationship with me is mirrored in every relationship with everyone and everybody. My relationship with me is mirrored with all of my relationships. He said that Louise says every state of disease is a form of unforgiveness. We are always doing our best. What would I like to learn today? Go into your day with that attitude. What am I going to learn today? What's something new is going to come to me? Susie Orman was our last speaker, and Susie said, it's the attitude and an intention that you do anything that makes a difference in what you do in life. Louise was successful because she worked her ass off with the right attitude and intention. This was quotes, by the way. With attitude and intention. That's how you are successful. Susie also gave us, of course, some financial advice as well, which was to live within your means, pay off all your debt, pay off your home as soon as possible, get your living trust written, and have as much fun saving as you do spending. The key to financial freedom, she said, is stand in your truth, say something, and do it. Which brings us back to our topic today. Edwene says the first thing you need to do is let go of judgments. Let go of judgments. What is right? What is wrong? How critical can you be of yourself and others? And so we are all getting to start the 21-day diet. 21 days of no criticism. Nothing coming out of your mouth that indicates that you have some sort of a judgment that this is less than. Starting with yourself. What was that? The rule? If you say yes, say three things that go by the rule. Is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? Use that rule. That should keep you on the diet of that 21 days of no criticism. Because that's where we're starting. Anybody with me on this? I'm starting today. Starting today, 21 days. And you know, of course, if you goof up, what happens? You got to start over. Start over. So you don't listen to the shoulds, the shouldn'ts. Don't listen to that at all. Now, here's what Edwene does. Here's the little kicker. That's the helpful little tidbit. If something happens in life that is not to our liking, which might happen. Something might happen that we didn't have control over. And so we would have a natural response to saying something negative, something, critical about it, right? But no. So you're going to catch yourself, and here's going to be your response. Well, that's great. Okay? Then that's your little tidbit. That's what happens. So whenever anything, the stuff hits the fan, you're going to say, well, that's great. And why? Because that shifts you. That places you in knowing that there is a higher power, there's a higher energy going on here, there's a bigger picture. Let me flow into it that way. So I want to get back to Edwene and share with you the things that she talks about. In fact, I've got it in, if you want to take it home, it's in your thought for the week, the steps that she talks about with getting clear-cut rules. Clear-cut steps of getting your goals written and achieved. But what it starts with really is letting go of that criticism. It starts with placing ourselves in joy, placing ourselves in this knowing that God and life are for us, that love wants to give us everything our hearts desire. That's what we start with that premise. And so it's interesting, I guess I've been doing this subliminally. My subconscious has been trying to tell me that I need to start working on this 21-day diet because I put on my mirror in my bathroom and I am committing to memory of the Philippians verse. It says, finally, brethren, I'm going to see if I can do this without looking at my notes. Finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue, and if there be any praise, think on these things. If there be any praise, choose the praise over the criticism. That's what love does. That's what God does. And that's what we are in expression. I wanted to end with one of Louise's heart thoughts. These are little daily readings that she wrote, which mine is going to be published as well one of these days for all my thoughts for the week. Get those published. So this one says, I love myself totally in the now. Love is the biggest eraser there is. Love erases even the deepest imprinting because love goes deeper than anything. If in your childhood imprinting was very strong and you keep saying it's all their fault, I can't change, you stay stuck. Do a lot of mirror work. Love yourself in the mirror from the top of your head to the tips of your toes. Dressed and naked, look into your eyes and love you and your child within. Go back to that basic child of who we are, of what we are. Oh, my necklace is off. There it is. It says, be gentle, kind, and comforting with your inner child. As you uncover and release the old negative messages within you, say, all my changes are comfortable, easy, and fun. We're talking about setting goals here. We're talking about changing. We're talking about having a greater, broader, more fulfilling life. That's what we are as infinite beings. And so we are to do that with consistency. Here are the 10 steps. Write down all your desires without censoring them. Choose the most important ones and list them in order. Prayerfully ask what changes you might need to make to achieve these goals. Choose a realistic date by which each desire is to be achieved. Hint, if the date comes and goes and you haven't seen the results, go back to number 3. Where do I have to change? Read your list at least 3 times a day. Imagine yourself achieving the goal. You've got to be there in the now, feeling it, experiencing it. Say, thank you, yes. I'm on the beach. Act as if you've received. Act as if you've received. That means doing the things. You want the car? Go shopping. Don't tell others. This is an important one because others will many times diffuse you. They will take that energy and they, from all of our background, will say, well, who do you think you are? Many times they will not support you. Cross off a goal when achieved and add new ones. God's highest law is love. Love yourself, and only then can you love others. That's what life is about. It's an infinite broadening, an infinite deepening, an infinite experiencing this love that we are. So let's do it. Let's ask. You gotta ask. Jesus didn't just, go and help everybody. You had to ask him. Okay? Then you have to accept. And then you have to do it. Pray and move your feet. And so it is. Namaste.